Just getting things set up. We'll get rolling at 11. I'm a little early. Let's move that to the edge. I'm a little bit early. Yeah, definitely need to pull that down. Okay. There we go. That's better. Whoa, got a little blurry there. We're gonna get going in a minute. I'm just setting up. We'll roll at 11. Officially roll at 11. I should say that. It's clearly I'm rolling right now, but officially we'll roll at 11. All right, this is our this will be our 4th session. So we're getting some consistency here. It's a good it's a good thing. I don't know what I have task is. Close that. Bum, bum, bum. If you want to ask questions, cool. All right, my one viewer. We're early. We'll hopefully get more people here at 11. And we'll see how this goes over time if I build. Like I said, this is my 4th day. Only my 4th day doing this. So we'll see if we build a regular viewership. We'll have to find out. We'll have to find out what happens. Let's get the music ready. Still got the. Don't have a fix. If anyone watching this has a fix for the lines, I'm just wondering if I need to pop in just a regular light bulb. Just an old school, that's the problem, do I have any just an old school regular light bulb? Yeah, I don't know that that'll work. That's a good question though. So I wonder if we added a light bulb. Old school, yeah, I don't think I have old school light bulbs anymore. No, it's all LEDs, no. Yeah, no old school light bulbs. I probably, it might be, I frankly just probably need to buy a new webcam that can handle LED. So we can look at that, see what we can find. It's fancy. Let's look at the C920 and see if anyone else has LED flicker problems. LED flicker problem. LED flicker. Huh. Nothing. It must be something to do with these lights. I'm not sure. I'm not even sure how to fix that. I don't know if it's a webcam issue. Welcome. We'll get rolling here in about 3 minutes. Yeah. Well, that's why I wonder if I just have if I have another light bulb that's not. Oh, I guess I wonder if I turn those off, if the other ones are enough. I wonder if it's because I don't know that I'm gonna be able to fix that. If we take these off, there's still lines, but not as bad. Don't worry, I'll turn them back on. I just want to see. Oh, now interesting. There's no lines. Ha! So the bottom ones are not producing the lines, and maybe it's just the top ones. So let's shut those off and pop these on and see. It's so interesting. It's something about the top ones. And I don't know, that's interesting. I don't know what it is about the top ones. Huh. What is it about those? Because the bottom, so they're the same lights. I wonder if the phase is backwards on one of them or something. This is really interesting and frustrating. You got about one more minute, then we're going to get rolling. I just can't figure it out. Huh. You know, I don't know. I can't reach. I don't think I can reach the buttons. Huh. That's still a little dangerous. Yeah, we'll wait this way. So I did post. I've been calling these open sessions. Now I'm going to call them live at 11. I did post the first one, a nicer version of that. I had to delete the old one. But obviously, it would be much better live to not have the stripes. And like I said, I just can't figure out so I have LED lights. I have like a low set shooting up, and I've got a high set shooting down. And the low set, it does not cause the stripes on the screen, but the upper set does. I don't know why. I have no idea why. I wonder if it's just one or if it's all of them. That would be, I don't know. They're the same lights. They all came out of the same package. So there's something about these ones up top. I don't know if I've somehow got the phase reversed. Because they've got plugs. They've got plugs on both sides. So maybe it doesn't matter if the electricity is going one way or the other. Like it'll light up both ways, but maybe if it's going through one way, it messes it up. I honestly don't know. Those are all separate. I guess, are these all connected? No, these are just two connected at a time. I don't know. All right, let's roll. Hi, I'm Rod from UnitedTaps.com, and this is live at 11, where we do some Q&A. I'll create a new step I haven't seen before. We'll talk technique for one specific step, and possibly do practice session or short combination or something. It's a little bit of an open format, so a little bit of anything can and sometimes does happen. All right, so fantastic. So we'll start with any Q&A for anyone who's watching. If you have any questions or anything you want to talk about, put it in the chat. I'll check that periodically and address that as they come in. In the meantime, while we're waiting for that, why don't we address our step technique of the day. We're going to be focusing on scuffle step heel, also known as paradiddle, paddle and roll, dig brush toe heel, these guys, right? Now I'll be approaching this more from a teacher's perspective, but the information I'm going to give you, it will help you if you're a teacher, but also if you're a student, because you may have some of these issues that I cover. All right, so let's talk about some common problems that happen with the scuffle step heel, paradiddle, whatever you want to call it, paddle and roll. One of them is an early spank, and that's going to sound like this. Something like da-da-da-da. So that spank is happening right away. And obviously the rhythm sounds weird and the rhythm sounds off. So how do we fix that? We've actually got 3 different strategies we can use, and we can actually combine all 3 if necessary. But I'll take them one at a time. And the first strategy is to simply lift the toe a little bit higher. That's going to make it take a little bit longer to get down to the floor. So higher, higher, higher. Actually, there's 4 strategies. That's strategy number 1 is lift the toe higher. Strategy number 2 is simply try to delay the spank. I'm not going to lift it higher, but in my mind, I'm going to think hold, hold. Either delay the spank, or you can think lengthen the dig, right? Long, long. All right, so that's our second option. First option was lift higher. Second is to delay the spank. The third option, and this is going to kind of dovetail with the first, is to actually do the dig just slightly further away. Now, long term, if you're trying to go really fast and you do that, that's going to slow you down. However, if you're having problems at this speed, let's fix that first, and then we can adjust the placement as we go faster, right? So and here's how this is related to the first fix. the further I put my heel out, the higher the toe goes, essentially, right? I mean, you can try to keep it down, but that's really weird. Generally, the further you put it out, the more you're going to lift your toe. And so it's going to take a little bit longer for that toe to come down. So you can put it slightly further away. Again, this is going to work at a slower speed. As you go faster, you're going to need to bring that dig back in. Now, hopefully, you've retrained your foot and you've got the rhythm even in your mind and with your feet, so that when you do go faster, when you do start bringing it in, you don't resort to the old habit. If you do, you've got strategy number 1, which is you can keep it close but lift the toe higher. You've got strategy number 2, which is just delay the spank and or think about doing the dig longer. And strategy number 4 that we're going to address now is to do the spank louder, is to do it harder. Now, there are 2 things that can happen when you try to do that sound louder. A lot of people naturally actually speed up when they go louder, which is not what we want at all. So you can be aware of that, and if you're a teacher, you say, hey, I want it to go louder, but not go faster. And the way you can enforce that not going faster is to have a metronome or have them doing it to a beat or music or something to that effect. So that is keeping them on speed even as they're doing it louder, so they don't just naturally go faster, because some people will naturally go faster. The whole thing is we don't want the spank any faster, we want the spank actually later. So how does making the spank later how does making the spank louder actually make it later? Well, the somewhat effect is this. I'll give you an analogy. So if someone tells me to tap the wall, right, that takes me like literally a tenth of a second. If someone tells me hit the wall as hard as you possibly can, it takes me longer, because what do I have to do? I have to wind up and then boom, hit it. And all that wind up, build up of energy and pressure, that takes time. And the same thing applies to your feet. If I'm going to make that spank louder, I need to wind it up. That means that I'm going to be lifting it a little bit higher, then the muscles are going to really tense up, and then I'm going to release it all at once for a louder spank. And all of that motion that happens before the release takes additional time. And so taking additional time can also, make that later and fix that timing problem. Now, if it's too loud, it sounds really strange. That's not going to be a good solution. So you might have to modify how much louder you're actually trying to make it, make sure it doesn't sound weird. But sometimes just trying to make it louder, even if you're not that successful volume-wise, you can be very successful timing-wise. It can delay, just trying to make all that happen can delay the spank enough that it's in the right place timing-wise. So again, our 4 strategies, if our spank is too soon, right, like this, we can lift the toe higher. We can simply delay when the spank happens, and or at the same time we could make the dig really long. We can do the dig slightly further away. We have to be careful about that when we go faster, because that can ultimately slow us down. But if we're going slower, then that's the only strategy that works. I'm all about whatever ultimately works. If you try the other 3 strategies and those don't work, then do this one, right? So you can do that further away. Of course, as you go faster, you're going to need to bring it back in. And finally, the last one is trying to make that spank louder, because all the motion that is required for the build up to make it louder will delay it. So those are the 4 ways that you can fix that early spank. And you can combine them. Sometimes you may need to combine them. Right? You may need to think about making it louder and holding off on it, or putting it further and lifting the toe up. Technically, I believe you can combine all 4 if you want. That's a lot to think about. Although, having to think about all that will probably make that spank really, really late. So there's another, there's a positive, I guess, to applying all of those. In general, though, if I'm working with a student, I'm going to apply one at a time and try to find one that works. If none of them works on their own, then we might try applying a couple together. Or if one works but not enough, and another one works but not enough, and I've tried the other ones, we might combine them. So that's an approach for how to fix an early spank in a paradiddle or paddle and roll. All right, Kimberly Cheeseman, hey, you gave a hint last week for distinguishing flaps from shuffles. The F in flap means forward, and the S in shuffle means side. And yes, you can do shuffles to the front, but primarily they're done to the side. So that was like a little distinguishing method. What word? My memory is just good for short. From shuffles. Oh yeah, the shuffles, the S was for side, because they're primarily done for side. I think that'll answer your question, Kimberly. Kimberly's referring to the other day we talked about sometimes when, from a teacher's perspective, although as a student you may have this problem, you may not even know this, because often students don't know they have this problem. They'll be intending to do a flap, right, going forward. They'll be intending to do a flap, and they'll accidentally do a shuffle. But because it's still moving forward, if they're not very closely monitoring their feet and counting how many sounds are happening and paying attention to what's happened, they can easily do a shuffle and not know it. They can totally think they're doing claps, even though that foot's coming back for a shuffle. And so one of the strategies that I mentioned is flaps. The F in flaps is for forward; those are moving forward, and the S in for shuffle. S in shuffle is for going to the side. Now that's not necessarily going to. We talked also that that's not going to fix this problem because they think they're going front, so they assume they're doing a flap, even though that's what's actually doing a shuffle. In that case, we talked about having them look in the mirror so they can actually watch what their foot is doing and mentioning to them that foot should not be coming back if you're doing a flap. It should go forward only. It should not snap back. And another thing to do is to have them watch your foot do the flap, and then they do the flap watching themselves in the mirror. And then you go, and they go, so that they can start to see, oh, I hear a difference. You're making 2, it sounds I'm making 3, and they can see a difference. Oh, your foot only goes forward, my foot rebounds and comes back. So that was another way to distinguish and help fix that. So that's good. So that's all right. So we covered our tech with the paradiddle / paddle and roll / scuffle step heel, whatever you want to call that. If you have any questions, of course, pop them in. I'm happy to do that. Now let's jump to our, I'm going to create a step I haven't seen before. I'm very specific in saying a step I haven't seen before. This doesn't mean somebody else hasn't done it somewhere at some time, but there's no way I can know every step everyone's ever done. So I'm going to create something I haven't seen before. If you guys, and what's really fun, we did this last time, if you guys want to put some sounds, single sounds, like a dig or a brush or a scuff or a spank, or someone did single pullbacks, which was challenging, but we ended up with a cool step, so I was excited about that. Or a clunk or whatever. If you want to pop some suggestions in the chat, I will take whatever you come up with and I will put that all together. In fact, what would be fantastic is in the future, as soon as you start watching, just put those in right at the top. Then I have like this long list and it's all set to go so that when I get to this segment, I can just say, oh, you've already put in like dig, brush, and step. All right, so I'll see what I can do with the dig, brush, and step and make something happen. And then you won't have to wait around as long while I'm like, well, let's wait for suggestions and whatnot. It'll go a little bit quicker. If I don't get suggestions, I'll just do it on my own, which is probably what's going to happen. Okay, so I'll do it on my own. Let's pick, we'll do a toe, we'll do a scuff, and we'll do a chug. A toe, a scuff, and a chug. So we have a toe and a scuff and a chug. A toe, a scuff, and a chug. Now I'm going to do this live as we go, and it'll be what it'll be. And go, guys, scuffle. All right, so we'll change the scuff to a scuffle. So we have a toe and a scuffle and a chug. Also, some people call that a paddle or a dig brush or whatever, dig spank. So we have a toe, a scuffle, and a chug. This is going to be interesting. All right, already I'm thinking that would be fun to do together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There we go. So we were going to do a left chug and a right toe at the same time, and then scuffle, jump, heel, heel, out, scuffle, jump. We might even cross that. Out, scuffle, jump, heel, heel, out, scuffle, jump, heel, heel, out, scuffle, jump, heel, heel, out, scuffle. I'll do that slow again. So I'm chugging left and toeing right at the same time, up hard, so we got some visual interest. Scuffle, and then I'm jumping, and then I'm doing right heel first. Out, scuffle, cross, heel, heel. Out, scuffle, cross, heel, heel. Boy, that works the quad. I'm going to try the other side just to see what happens. So we're out, scuffle, cross, heel, heel. Out, scuffle, cross, heel, heel. Way harder on the left. One of the good things about doing left as a teacher is it gives me a better feel for how it feels for the students to do some of the stuff that I ask them to do. How's that? Because left is harder, more awkward, which is often what they're facing the first time they do it on their right. Well, left side's a little rough. Right side went well, that was fun. That's cool. Good. All right, so we did our tech. we got our step again. Any questions, anything like that, pop them in the chat and then I'll answer them. I'm going to go to a practice session now. If you want to practice along with me, put your level, type your level into the chat. And if there's some consensus, if there's like 5 people who all want to do beginner, I'll do a beginner level practice session. If there's no consensus, maybe I'll shoot for the middle, and if no one gives a suggestion, I'll just do advanced. I'll do my level, like intermediate advanced, somewhere around there. All right, anything? So I'll give you like a few seconds. And once I get started with the practice session, you can still pop in the questions. I'll still jump out and answer those. Oh, I hope I push record. I'm like, I don't know if I push record on the good cam. Well, you'll know if I don't. There's not a good video replacing this. You'll know. Yeah. So. So yeah, I forgot what I was talking about. But anyway, all right, great. Intermediate. I've got one for intermediate. Oh, 2 more V's. Oh, 2 more V's. So, guy just joined the chat. So I released a video last week. It was a combination to forgive and forget, and got really good feedback. Like really strong. Like I normally get some good feedback, but I got a lot of really good feedback. And 2 more V's is the artist that made the song that I was tap dancing to. So he just popped into chat. Well, hello. It's so cool. Keep killing. Thanks, 2 more V's. I appreciate you stopping by. That's really cool. That's really fantastic. All right, so let's jump into. I've got one request for intermediate, so we'll jump into an intermediate practice session, and we'll just see how that goes. Again, I will answer questions if they come in during the practice session. All right, let's tighten up our feet, shall we? Okay, I'll hang over here. Software is so dicey, man. At least for me. But I have technical. I have like I don't know what to call it. I have like a tech curse. That's actually a good way to call it. A tech curse. Meaning I break technology. Like whatever it is, it doesn't matter. If it's a computer, I'll find a way to crash it. You know, if it's a phone, I'll find some glitch that makes it stop working. If it's a TV, I'll arrive at my in-laws and the remote just stops working. So I have that effect. I don't know why, I just do. So, all right, let's jump in. Intermediate practice session. One more time, slow. Keep going. I need that to practice on my left. Hey, awesome, Graciela. All right, my friends. Cool. So I'll take one last option, one last request for any questions. We're going to wrap it up. So if you have any final questions, pop them in the chat. I'll answer them, and then we'll wrap it up. And also, if you have any comments or suggestions about the format, hey, I like this aspect, I don't like this, do more of this, do less of that, because we're still in the early stages of this. Figuring out what I'm now calling it, for those of you who just jumped in, live at 11. For those, I'm still figuring out what it's going to be. So your feedback is instrumental in helping that happen. Anything? Going once, twice, 3 times? We're gone? All right, fantastic. All right, well, thank you guys so much for joining me. I, of course, am Rod Howell from UnitedTaps.com, where we're making you happier and healthier through tap dance. Cool. All right, thank you all who showed up at the live. Who showed up live and who put in questions, comments, and suggestions. You know what I need to do is I need to let people know, because this gets posted after. A lot of people can't watch it live, so I need to do something to the effect of saying, hey, if you're watching this after the fact and you have questions, put them in the comments, and then I can address them at the next live one. So even though you won't be in the live one, once that's posted, you'll see the answers to your questions. Yeah, so I need to do that. Maybe I'll just pop that in and then on editing. Also, if you're catching this not live, but you're catching this after it was recorded, and you do have questions, put them in the comment section below, and then I can address them in my next live session, which even if you're not watching it live, it will be posted after that, so you'll still be able to see your answers. So go ahead and feel free to do that. All right, so I think that's good. Thank you, Graciela and Kimberly, and 2 more Ds. Awesome. All right, I'm out. Thanks so much. Okay.